Fresh testimonies from former members of the FDLR militia and Wazalendo fighters have uncovered how SADC forces are providing support to these groups, supplying them with military equipment to fight against M23 and in the broader plan orchestrated by President Tshisekedi to overthrow the Rwandan government. The revelations come from ex-members of the FDLR CAP unit who recently surrendered to Rwanda. CAP is a specialized brand of the FDLR known as Commando de Recherche et d'Action en Profondeur, is responsible for high-intensity combat operations. These fighters have received backing from the Kinshasa government. In recent days, Tshisekedi's wife was even seen visiting them in the hospital. Those who surrendered on Monday, February 4th and 5th, 2025, explained that before going into battle, SADC troops provided them with weapons and assisted them in launching heavy artillery strikes against M23.
In the FDLR, I participated in 15 intense battles in Ruvumu. We fought alongside the Nyatura combatants under the command of Janvier. I took part in the second battle in Muheto. We were with Nyatura members from Ignatius group. The third battle took place in Kagusa, where the FRDC forces had just started arriving. About 50 FRDC soldiers came. The fourth battle was in Kingi, which involved Burundians, while SADC forces were firing bombs. The coalition also included Nyatura and the Wazalendo fighters. It took part in the fifth battle in Kalenga. It also involved Burundians, FRDC, and Wazalendo fighters. The sixth battle was in Gichwa, where we fought alongside FRDC's Hibo and SADC forces that were firing bombs. Wherever we fought, for instance, at the beginning in Kibumba, in Rumangabo, we were fighting alongside FRDC and the Wazalendo. When we reached Sake, there were also FRDC forces, except Ntaringi and Gichwa, where we fought alongside Burundians and the FRDC soldiers. SADC forces joined us in Sake, in a place called Makombo, where they mounted their weapons in an area called Kimoka and assisted through the firing of bombs. What SADC was doing was shelling bombs at M23 positions while we were on the front lines below. At that time, in Sake, our numbers were estimated at around 2,000. The forces were diverse, including FRDC and Wazalendo fighters. During those days, I was in Sake. Others intervening in Congo were present.
This is a true example of how the SADC mission in the DRC is an offensive operation rather than a peacekeeping one, as stated by the South African leadership. SADC forces officially entered the war in eastern Congo after President Tshisekedi expelled EAC troops, accusing them of failing to fight M23. Instead, he called upon SADC forces, with South African troops leading the combat operations. They joined Burundian forces, who had also aligned with Tshisekedi's broader strategy to overthrow the Rwandan government. These troops, alongside armed groups such as FDLR, Wazalendo and others, have formed a coalition dedicated to waging war against Rwanda.
The first battle that involved a large number of Burundians was in a place called Kinge. There were about 200. Another intense battle that also involved many Burundians was in a place called Tuonane, where they had around 3 bases. The FRDC would come, but it was SADC that supplied us with ammunition and food.
These fighters joined the FDLR at different times and underwent military training, all with a common objective: to invade Rwanda and exterminate the Tutsi population.
I had spent 12 years in the FDLR, having joined at a place called Kutabi. I was taken from Kutabi to join the military, with a promise that we would eventually return to reclaim our country, Rwanda. After 4 years in the group, I was sent for SEI training in a place called Rugari. The training lasted 4 months, and after completing it, I returned. In CRAP training, the first priority was hand-to-hand combat, followed by marksmanship. In the FDLR, there were young men of my age, some older than me, and even elderly fighters. What they taught us was to hate Rwanda and its leaders, especially the Tutsi community. They indoctrinated us with threats to kill whoever was caught escaping. They would kill some and assign me to execute others, but they suspected me of being Rwandan. We would end up being 3 in the entire group.
They also described the structure of the FDLR, particularly the CAP unit, which consists of commandos who engage in intense combat and provide security for top militia leaders.
The CRAP is made up of 5 companies. The first is called Bombardier, led by the warlord known as Elias Noel. The second company is called MIG-35, led by Tuyizere Aimable. And the third company is led by Fitumukiza Benjamin. The fourth company is called Boeing, led by Remy. The first company has 100 soldiers, the second has 80, the third has 70, and the fourth has around 80 people. The fifth company has around 50 because it's the smallest. Company that protects the leadership wherever they flee and moves with them is called Boeing and is led by Remy. The other companies stay on the sidelines, with the warlord's company being among ones mandated to engage in combat. The second company, called MIG-35, also goes to fight. Apache and Drone are the companies that are often assigned to handle the commanders. There are other companies like Jericho and Sinai. All of them moved to Walikale, while others went to Kazaroho, and that's where they are roaming in the forests. I got involved in war when I joined the army. I fought in the war during that time, when they were attacking us down there at a place called Ikiyeye, Ubuchanataka, and in Mweso, in all these places. We also joined during the fighting with M23 that saw Rumangabo base captured. We were with FRDC soldiers. I also fought in Mabenga and here in Sake.
One of the former FDLR CAP fighters revealed that during his time in the militia, he worked closely with the group's senior leadership. He was particularly close to Colonel Ruhinda Gabi, whose real name was Protogène Ruvugai Mikore, the former head of FDLR's Special Forces. Ruhinda was killed in December 2023 during clashes between Congolese forces and M23. A witness to the incident provided a detailed account of what transpired.
After finishing my training, they assigned me as an escort for Ruhinda. I helped him with cleaning his shoes and carrying his bags on his trips, as well as cooking. I spent 6 years with Ruhinda. We parted ways shortly after he passed away. I immediately joined a company called MIG-35. As for the circumstances of Ruhinda's death, we went to store ammunition. After we left and reached the camp, we heard bombs exploding, and we saw a vehicle rush into the camp. Those people quickly took us to the other side, took our phones, and we saw the vehicle speeding away from the camp. After 5 hours, they told us it was Ruhinda who had died in a grenade ambush. After Ruhinda's death, life changed. They appointed someone to replace him, and they immediately transferred to another unit.
These young men stated that their decision to return home was influenced by radio broadcasts where they heard testimonies from other ex-combatants who had previously repatriated and confirmed that Rwanda was peaceful.
Surrendering was not easy for me because the situation was dire. I knew I would die if they found out about my plan to escape. However, as soon as I arrived in Goma, things became easier for me because M23 had already taken control of Goma. I knew that if they caught me, I could say I was from there to surrender. When I got to Goma, I had a contact who would introduce me to the Rwandan authorities. I was received by the police there. As soon as I crossed Congo border and entered Rwanda, I had no further issues.
nta bindi bibazo twigeze duhura nabyo bindi tena.
The message I would give them is that staying in those forests won't benefit them and it won't get them anywhere. It is just serving those men and they won't achieve anything. They should return to Rwanda as the country is safe. I was also scared, but I overcame it and I made it here without any problems. They should leave those forests. It won't help them. We ran for a long time, but it was all in vain. They should return home.
These revelations about the collaboration between FDLR and SADC forces come at a time when the pressure is mounting on SADC troops deployed in Congo, particularly South African forces, which have been urged to withdraw. This follows concerns that their mission in Congo might be driven by the personal interest of certain individuals, notably President Ramaphosa.